My name is Björn Larsson Lindman, and I'm from Sweden. I practice as a leader, a trainer for more than 50 years, and I've been writing books here in Mallorca for 10 years, and now I finished the latest one. The title of the book is Evil Leadership and How to Avoid Totalitarianism to Take Control Over Democracy. The reason why I wrote this book about evil is that I saw so much of it while working with leaders, and how leaders can turn evil while starting as very good leaders, very good to the people, and then being corrupted by power. It's very interesting to see the changes of a society in the eyes of what is called anacyclosis. That is the continual change of societies, going from, in this theory, from kingdom into democracy, that turns into tyranny. A very important part of the book is actually the idea of a triangle of evil, and that is three basic concepts and necessities to create evil, actually. And one of them is that the society is in kind of chaos. Maybe people say they're suffering in one way or another, or they feel there is an enemy coming in to take over something. And the second one is that you have a individual, like Hitler, for instance, or Trump, interested in power, extremely interested in power, and after a while doing whatever it takes to stay in power. They're climbers, they go up like this, but they also say, I have to stay up here. And that's a reality for them, because they know when they drop down from this position up here, they fall very hard and probably die. The third component in the triangle of evil is the crowd, the people who votes for these very empowered people. They do empower people by voting for them in the beginning, and then they are forced into this by propaganda and different means. And also the terror, the introduced terror. Stalin was extremely good in this. He really found out how to use terror against the people to make them obey. It's a very important part of the process that many of these coming oppressors begin as very, very nice leaders. They promote democracy. They go out into the crowds and talk, and they're very popular. But they use their popularity to increase their power. And that is riding on democratic principles from the beginning. Democracy has many weaknesses. And the founding fathers of the United States, they knew this. And they tried to create at least three different stops for tyranny to take over. And you see now how Donald Trump tries to de-enforce these three forces that should stop tyranny to occur or rise. What comes to this also is that if you have a non-educated population, it's much more risky. It's much more vulnerable to undemocratic forces. You imagine this is the apple of knowledge, and the apple of knowledge is the knowledge is the only thing that could save us. So education is so important for democracy. And you can see now that how people into power try to take away all these forces that makes people strong. The story is behind here is that I studied biology parallel to psychology, and realizing that in the crowds, for instance, in chimpanzees, they are dominated by one male, and they have a strong leader that is a tyrant to the rest of them, and he dominates everything. And it's about sex, of course, sex, power, and and he uses this to organize the whole crowd because of his domination or the nature of these groups. He cannot expect to survive this as an aging, naturally. He will be killed and replaced by a younger male. The AREX syndrome is about climbing and staying on top at any means. But it's also saying that there are people who are obsessed with the power and staying up there. And that is the syndrome. They are become sick of power. And they become so sick, so they absolutely, like Putin yesterday said, maybe I don't have to use nuclear arms against Ukraine. He is obsessed with this syndrome. And he's becoming extremely dangerous for the rest of the world. In the book I pronounce, and it's very important to understand that nobody's born evil. Even though there might be brain damages that makes people go crazy in one way or another, evil comes into a person later on. The possibility to become evil is in all of us. But it's mostly stopped by education and knowledge of the importance of working to cooperation and being friendly, and the rewards of being friendly and nice is much higher. I have two concepts in the book. One is authoritarianism, but also totalitarianism. And I differentiate a bit between these two because authoritarianism is used mostly in the Western countries, but it's more limited, describing a limited interest in power by the leader. Totalitarianism, like Putin, for instance, and absolutely Trump, they are totalitarianists. They want to change everything. There are many issues in the life of a child that could create maybe evil. We don't know. There is a long process into evilness. But all of us have scars from childhood, but mostly they are healed in one way or another. But when there are really deep scars and there is power, it becomes dangerous. Evolution has not created us democratic. We have to create democracy because we believe in cooperation. And democracy is cooperation, not one ruling everything. It has to be spread out so people individually can take initiatives. That's very important. Democracy has to be trained, introduced by schooling to everybody in a society, because that's the best way to cooperate, to make people feel good. In the end of the book, I have created two logarithms to anybody could use to see if their leader has a democratic agenda or a more tyrannical or totalitarian agenda behind the sweet words they use. And that should be possible for anybody to use. It's all about the right questions to figure out how we could identify dangerous leaders and help them to resign. Because their evilness, if we can talk about that, the aspiring evilness could certainly be taken care of. Maybe we have to create a international organ that could say, this society is going the wrong way, and we know why. This is going to end up, and then you can predict what's going to happen. My book is written for everyone, even young people, of course, older people, and everybody in between. My book are now translated into many languages. I think it's 6 or 7. And it's available in English, of course, and soon in Russian and Ukrainian, all languages. But also will be in German and Italian. For the future, I would love to be hopeful, but I think the threats are enormous. That's why I wrote this book, is that these logarithms would be helpful to see what's going to happen in the future, because the choice is ours. We are the people choosing these mad leaders. So we have to accuse ourselves for not choosing the right persons. The only good choices are come from good education, knowledge. It's been very, very challenging to write this book, because you dive into the most deepest, darkest part of the heart of humankind.